Hey, good afternoon, guys. So good to see you guys all again. We're back for another TYSA SEL chat. My name is Ghazala. I am the TYSA PACS coordinator at the Staten Island Partnership for Community Wellness. I'm joined by Michele, Malissa, John, and Danielle. They work at UAU, United Activities Unlimited. And this week, we are talking about siblings. I was thinking about siblings, Michele, because I had a younger sister, and when you're home together for the summer, sometimes you could be at each other's necks or irritate each other, right? And I can just imagine during this period when people are often stuck in the house and under a lot of stress, that there must be a lot of tensions. What do you think?
Oh my God, I'm having the same feeling. I feel like now, especially, it's kind of difficult. Sometimes we're not able to even get out of the house. So it can totally be worse during this time, unfortunately. So I think that, together we can hopefully come up with some strategies for you guys to use at home with your kids. If you have a couple kids at home, siblings, I think this would be a great talk. Danielle, what do you think?
Yeah, I can relate. I mean, I live with my younger siblings, and we're all pretty close in age, so we've been able to mesh well. And we each have our own rooms. We're blessed with our own rooms and our own space, which is great. Like whenever we're on top of each other. But I did make it a point to figure out what they're interested in right now. So, for instance, like my brother's back into like the Avatar series, so like I'm watching that with him, and like he's really getting into like explaining it with me. And with my sister, like we'll watch a movie or we'll go on like TikTok together, or it's just the little things. So we were able to enjoy, the time that way, but we're also able to have each other's space. But I did have an opportunity to speak with a teacher who's struggling right now with her two children, who one's in pre-K and I believe one's in first grade. And Melissa is familiar with the children as well because she worked with them. And after reading a article from the Child Mind Institute, Dr. Lee did mention a few crucial points that aligned with siblings in particular. And a lot of the time, it's like when the fighting takes place, it's usually a certain day and time. There's a pattern, and it's usually to get the attention of the parents. So, between taking turns and sharing, it's like reinstilling like those lessons with them to, reassure them that like, communication is key. And, during this time, tensions can get high. So just to remind them, the importance of kindness. And another part that reminded me of something that the children would be familiar with, because this is what usually typically happens in like a classroom setting. For every time you catch them fighting, you want to catch them playing nicely together as well. 3 to 5 more times at least, to like reinsure them and encourage them that you really want them to change that behavior. So it's like that that correction portion, which is easier said than done. Whether they're sharing or maybe a toy or sharing their food or responding nicely to each other, just acknowledging that that's what you want in your home, reinstilling that that's the structure that you want in your home and the behaviors that you want to see. So that's what I was able to share with the teacher, and I think it was helpful. But Melissa, what do you think?
Just reflecting back as a younger sibling of 2 older sisters, I got along with one of my sisters, and the other one, we were like oil and water. And I remember most of the times we did get along was when we were doing something that we both enjoyed. And sometimes that's hard to find. So as caregivers, maybe finding that commonality of what your children enjoy and try to push that. And, definitely Friday game nights, pizza nights, things like that, still keeping them involved with that family, niche, and then just encouraging, we're family, positive vibes, we're in this together. And also something that, because I come from a big family, I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and the nitpicking, it's really easy to get caught up in name calling. So what I would have them do is, if you get caught saying a negative thing about your sibling, you have to come up with 3 positive things to say about them. And even if they couldn't come up with all 3 things, it just turned their wheels in thinking positive things about each other. And then it also sees the mood at that point, because now they're laughing and giggling, and it just totally got rid of the whole tight friction part that they initially forgot. So hang in there, caregivers. I know this is like tough times. Take that walk, spend your time individually as much as you can, but also find that commonality. John, what do you think?
Well, one situation comes to mind. I recently had this situation come up, and I noticed that a lot of times when you have siblings that are fighting, it's, it can be something like tangible, something over like an iPhone or a phone or even TV time. And, it's natural. No matter how great of a caregiver you are, the siblings or the kids you watch are going to fight. It's part of the process, right? And every opportunity, everything that happens in a child's life is a learning opportunity. So even fighting over, let's say, the iPad is a learning opportunity. You just have to make sure that you hold the kids accountable for their actions, and that teaches them some responsibility. For argument's sake, let's say that you set up a structured time. So each child gets an hour on the iPad. You have to make sure to adhere to that structure, that schedule as close as possible. This way you have to make sure that each child gets an equal turn on the device. And again, they are going to get into fights, but just remember that, again, it's part of the process of learning that they have to understand. They do fight, or it does go bad, that they need to get held accountable for their actions. So for instance, if they start fighting over the iPad, regardless of whose turn it is, the iPad gets taken away. And you can't give an empty threat. You have to make sure you explain to them the consequence and follow through with it. Of course, as soon as they de-escalate, as soon as their emotions calm down, then you could give them back the item, giving them another learning opportunity to make them understand the contingency. Well, if I comply and I play nice, or I adhere to the schedule that my caregiver gave me, I get access to this device again. If I don't adhere to schedule, or I do get into a fight, or I do get into an argument with my sibling, then I lose access to the device. Again, they learn from both contingencies, both from getting the reward and from getting the unpleasant consequence. So the idea is that you have to be consistent with both. Of course, you want to make sure to try to praise for the correct behavior, for the good behavior more often than you are punishing. That doesn't mean you don't punish, or it doesn't mean you don't address the unwanted behavior. That just means that you make sure to call them out for the correct behavior as it happens, because it is common for a child that is getting a lot of attention for the unwanted behaviors, that they will act out more, so they get more attention. So to address that fact, just make sure that you give them even more attention for the correct behaviors than you are for the unwanted behaviors. Again, it's part of the process. Stick to your guns. Do not give empty threats. Follow through with it, and then give them another chance to, once they de-escalate, give them another opportunity to succeed. What do you think, Michelle?
I think that's a really great note. I like that you ended it on giving them another chance to succeed. I think it's safe to say that we all feel that like positivity is key when dealing with siblings. So, pointing out when they're playing nicely, that was a really great topic, speaking nice to each other and giving them that chance. I also think that when we write things down, it kind of sticks with us a little bit longer. So maybe like writing a positive message to like the siblings to each other. So we like to call this like toodles instead of tattles, telling your sibling something that you appreciate and you like about them. So it just, again, keeps with that positivity and points out the things that you like. And I think when we practice this more and more, we tend to really believe it and live by it. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, that was great. I guess I would just maybe reiterate what you guys all shared, right? Let's recognize what we appreciate about each other, right? And we can do that through a toodle, which we'll be linking to in our description. And give your children, your siblings, an opportunity to learn and try again, right? If we take something away, let's give them an opportunity to learn from their mistake after we've spoken to them. And, they'll impress you, right? They want to be getting along if they're stuck with each other, right? So it's to their benefit, and they'll rise to that challenge if we can, assist them and teach them what's correct. So I will be linking to that Child Mind Institute article that Danielle mentioned, and I'll be linking to the toodles that Michelle mentioned. We are here for you, and we'll be recording again next week. So please follow us on social media at TYSA Network. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And thank you all, and be safe.